If a little green is good, more is even better. Now, back to Green is Good with John Shigarian and Mike Brady.
Welcome back to Green is Good, and we're so thankful today to have author Shari Aaron on the phone with us from my home state of New York. Shari is the vice president of TNF and also a market research and sustainability expert. And now she's known as the author of Climb the Green Ladder. Welcome to Green is Good, Shari Aaron.
Thank you. I'm delighted to be here.
Oh, we're honored to have you here because this book that you've done and all the great research that you're involved with is so important to the green revolution and to the sustainability movement. Why did you write this book, and where did that epiphany come from?
Sure. Well, I have been doing a lot of work in the sustainability area for about 10 years, and somewhat out of frustration that conscious consumers or consumers weren't going to be driving the sustainability revolution, I started to notice that there were a lot of really engaged employees at companies who were making some wonderful headway on programs in sustainability, either creating computers that reduced energy use or coffee that was fair trade. And so I wanted to study and see how they became so successful in bringing their initiatives forward. And I basically, just spent a year doing some more in-depth research and realized, there's a lot of great people out there doing fabulous things in sustainability, and it's under the covers and nobody knows about it, and we got to blow this open and help more people understand what sustainability is about and how they can impact sustainability in their companies and in their careers. And so that was part of my motivation for writing the book.
And when did you start this process?
Well, I'd say I spent a good year in research. So around 2008, in November of 2008 is when I started the process, and we finished up around, about a year and a half later with a finished book and an intense amount of research that went into the book.
And for our listeners, one of the great facts about how you co-authored this book is that your co-author lived in the UK and you had never met during the process. Explain what that meant and how you even did a sustainable co-authorship together.
Absolutely. So I'm somebody who does a lot of networking and does a lot of reading, and I had done a post on CSR Chicks. I was looking for somebody to help with some writing and some publicity, and I happened to connect with a woman, Amy Fetzer, who's in the UK, and she's already an accomplished journalist and has done a lot of writing in sustainability. And we got to talking about some of the ideas that I had for research. And before we knew it, we hit it off with a wonderful relationship and had Wiley as a publisher. And we together undertook an intensive research process where we did a survey that went out to employees in the United States and the UK and China and Germany and Italy. We used our networks to get the survey out to employees to understand what was going on in their minds around sustainability. Did they feel their employers were committed? Did they have the tools they needed? And we found this great piece of research which showed that only 1 in 10 employees felt that they had the tools and the training that they needed to help their firms become more sustainable. And so we really sought out to figure out the right tools and the right approach that employees could take to help them become more sustainable. And so we spent a whole year using Skype on our research and writing the book. And to be sustainable ourselves, we didn't fly until the first draft was done. And we luckily were able to use Skype and telephone and get the book done.
That is just wonderful. And how long ago did the book come out?
The book has been out now for about 4 or 5 months. It came out first in the UK and then in the U.S.
And for our listeners who would like to buy this great book, you can go to both Amazon, which we all know and use, and also to Shari's website for the book, climbthegreenladder.com, spelled just the way it's supposed to be, climbthegreenladder.com. So tell us a little bit about the book. Give us a little overview of the most important themes of the book and how that relates to our listeners and can inspire them to actually walk through the door of the green revolution and become part of the solution.
Absolutely. So thanks for this opportunity. Climb the Green Ladder, if you think about the title and why we termed it that, it's a takeoff of the corporate ladder, climbing the ladder, but it's really different than that. It's not the ladder, but it's a process. What we discovered is that using, as I mentioned, the right tools and the right approach, any employee at any company or any industry can make a real impact in sustainability. And so what the book does, it identifies the 6 key themes that underpin all successful sustainability strategies. And they are: get the mindset. You have to really understand what sustainability is and how it applies to your industry, to your department, to your concerns, and to the goals of the company. You have to learn how to make the business case, and we can go into that in a little bit more detail.
Sure. Yep.
You need to get your colleagues on your side. You need to have two-way conversations. You need to work together, form partnerships. And in the end of the day, you need to help your organization make sustainability part of the culture. So what the book does is it lays out these 6 key themes, and then we interviewed folks from all different walks of life in both corporate, academic, nonprofit, and small companies and large companies, and we provide examples like Coral Rose from Walmart, how she was able to get them to use sustainable cotton in apparel before they became a more sustainably oriented company. We interview folks from Green Mountain Coffee and Bovis Lend-Lease, lots of different companies in there, and we share the wisdom from the person who has gone through the process of making their company more sustainable. And then we also have some research facts and figures in the book to help you understand sustainability and support your work, as well as we list over 75 organizations with some detail about the organizations and the website. So as you're looking to make partnerships or understand more about carbon footprinting or other elements of sustainability, you know which organizations that you can go and get more information from. So it's really meant to be a toolkit for action.
That is just great. And it seems like the common theme here is communication, but beyond getting the mindset, then it's getting your colleagues on your side, two-way conversations, working together, cultural, make it part of the DNA. This all has to do with good communication. And speaking of that, you have so many fascinating case studies in the book. How were people when you approached them? People like Coral Rose and people from the Bovis Lend-Lease.
Sure.
Were they excited to share with you their green wisdom, or how did that go?
Absolutely. Well, part of it is that we just spoke with folks in our network who we had been talking to about sustainability for a long time, like Dave Stangus from Campbell's or Tansy Whalen. You mentioned she had been on the show the other day from Rainforest Alliance. And, we went through, obviously, the process, the legal process, where they had to approve what portion we would put in the book. But we had conversations with them. Between the two of us, we spoke to more than 80 sustainability leaders and experts, and we culled down the information, and we found, for the most part, that everybody was more than happy to share their pearls of wisdom, because we all look at sustainability as something that we all need to help each other. It's a very difficult, Amy likes to use the word woolly, which is a very British word. It's a confusing subject. It's an evolving subject. We're building it together, and we felt by reaching out to the community in a very honest and transparent way, here's what we're doing. We want to use your quotes. We'll get your approval. They were very happy to talk to us and really share with us some of the secrets of their success.
That is just so fascinating. Mike and I were really honored to have months back Barton Alexander, the head of Miller Coors, on the phone with us, who's the head of sustainability there, and I asked him the foolish question. He's been there already six years. I said, when are you done? He said, John, sustainability is a process. It's an evolution. And so what you're saying is confirms that. And that's just wonderful. Let's go. You got these 6 key themes. Why don't we drill down a little bit, and if you want to be more specific and give some great examples from your book. And again, if you just joined us now, we are so lucky to have Shari Aaron on the phone with us from New York, and she's the co-author of Climb the Green Ladder, and you can buy that book on Amazon and climbthegreenladder.com. Shari, so the 6 themes that you just went over, do you want to share some more specific examples and drill down on some of what you think are the more important themes?
Absolutely. So here's one about making the business case. So Freya Williams worked for an ad agency, Ogilvy and Mather, in New York City. And she was on maternity leave. She came back, and she sort of had that epiphany. I can either go raise my daughter in the woods and live a sustainable life, or I could come back to an agency like Ogilvy and Mather, one of the world's largest ad agencies, and see if I can help make a difference at work. And one of the first things that she did around making the business case is she showed them the money. She went to the procurement department, and she asked them what was the cost of paper, what do they spend on paper in a year. And she helped her supervisors see that, and other people in procurement and finances see that if you were to print on two sides of a piece of paper versus one side of a piece of paper at a huge agency like Ogilvy and Mather, you'd save some real dollars and cents.
Right.
So she went from that to cups. Okay, well, what if we give each employee a SIG water bottle instead of having all these coffee cups? And little by little, she was able to show that there was a real dollar amount to becoming more sustainable. And she also got team members involved in what she was doing. And now Ogilvy and Mather is in a new LEED certified building that used to be the chocolate factory over on 11th Avenue.
Wow.
So that's one example of making the business cases about showing them real money, dollars and cents. It's also at times about compliance or about showing new opportunities for growth. So with Coral Rose, as I mentioned, she wanted to be able to communicate that organic cotton apparel was very important, but she couldn't seem to get her colleagues interested. And she brought them to a meeting, and she understood from them that they got that organic food was important, or Walmart at that time was selling organic food, but they didn't connect the dots to apparel. So what she did is she took kitty litter, cleaned kitty litter, attached it to an invitation. It was the amount of kitty litter that would be in one cotton T-shirt, and she invited them to a meeting, and she talked about the pesticides and the toxins that go into making a T-shirt. She talked about the cottonseed and how when the cottonseed goes through the gin, 60% of the cottonseed actually goes into cotton, but 40% goes back into something like chicken feed or cottonseed oil. So she helped them connect the dots to the fact that, well, this is all about food in the end as well, and she was able to get them to approve creating yoga outfits in Sam's Club, and they flew off the shelves, and from there they just kept developing more and more products in that space, and now they're one of the world's largest sellers of organic cotton apparel.
You know, let's just pause there for a second. That is such a wonderful story, and I want to go back to just two of our previous guests just to share, how spot on you are, Shari, with your thoughts here in terms of sustainability as a leadership lens. So many people have cast Walmart in some, huge light that they're taking over the world. But the truth be known, when we had Corey Lumberg from Walmart on the show, and he just did a brilliant job laying out so many of the great sustainability practices they're doing. But even when we had the head of the Rainforest Alliance on from Costa Rica, he made it clear to Mike and I and our listeners that when Walmart makes a decision like the one you just mentioned, they move the needle in a major, major way in terms of pushing forward the green revolution and the sustainability revolution also. And that's so exciting to hear you give such another great story about what Walmart's doing to move us all in the right direction here.
Well, and I also think about sustainability as personal empowerment, because at the end of the day, whether you work for a small company or a large company, we as individuals decide the destiny of the company. So it's a matter of being able to realize that sustainability is a circular argument, right? Everybody thinks, sustainability will be solved if governments get on board and legislate.
Right.
Or other people say sustainability will be resolved when consumers start buying green. And over and over again, you can sort of point the finger to somebody else. But in the end of the day, we have individual responsibility. And as an employee, when you get on board, not only do you help your company in address sustainability, but the benefit is you help your career as well, because sustainability is tied with leadership and thinking beyond the box in a way that addresses the culture of the organization and addresses the reality of the marketplace. So Coral Rose at Freya Williams and the other examples in our book, they don't act disrespectful. They don't glue themselves to BP headquarters. They're not outrageous. They're looking at the business from a business point of view, and they're saying, where could we be more compliant? Where are the trends going to shift that we have to be aware of our business? And more, it's easier now because large companies like Walmart have gone out and put their thumbprint on sustainability. It makes it easier for others inside companies to step up and say, okay, now what can I do? And it's not an easy thing. We can't turn these huge ships overnight, but with all of us working together and turning them little by little at a time, we really can get somewhere.
Speaking of working together, we were so honored to have on the first part of this show today Randy Painter on, who is the owner and the CEO of Care2.com, and he has over 14 million members that are registered on his website. And he made Mike and I and our listeners aware that 75% of them are women. And obviously, you and Amy have done great work here writing this book and pushing the movement forward. Tell us your thoughts and Amy's thoughts on women and the leadership role in the green and sustainability revolution.
Well, we're seeing a lot of that now, but we're also perhaps actively seeking it out. I think we were seeing that there were a lot of male voices in sustainability, and we thought that, we offered a unique perspective. But then what started happening is that we understood why women needed help in understanding how they could use sustainability as a leadership lens, and we worked to create some programs and opportunities for women to help each other. I think women have a sense of being able to kind of look at the bigger picture, and they're able to also network and talk with each other. So why exactly women are taking up this calling, I think that remains to be researched because I'm a researcher, so, just giving you my opinion doesn't count. But we do know that women are 50% of the workforce, and right now they occupy only 17% of corporate officer positions and only 15% of Fortune 500 board seats. So we know there's a lot of potential for women. We also know just in general that 95% of CEOs say that businesses have to address sustainability, that they have to address the social environmental pressures. That comes from a McKinsey study in 2007. And we know that the evidence is showing us that employees are the ones that are driving sustainability. If you think about the CEO may want the CEO of Walmart may want the company to become more environmentally and socially responsible, but he needs the employees to figure out how to do it. And so women, if they're 50% of the workforce, they use a lens of looking at long-term and being able to network and communicate. I think they're very powerful force in being able to bring about some real sustainability initiatives for companies. You're
right. And on the consumer side, Randy made it clear to us that women control 83% of all consumer purchases.
Right.
Wow. That was a wow number for us. So talk about, green careers now in terms of your great book, Climb the Green Ladder. And for our listeners who just joined or on their iPad, iPhone, or in front of their desktop right now, you can buy Climb the Green Ladder on Amazon or on the website, climbthegreenladder.com. Are green careers the future of our economy here in the United States?
Well, it's interesting because I think our point of view is that any career can be a green career. I mean, certainly we're going to grow new industries, and there already are companies like, for instance, a company like TerraCycle that has sort of built a whole new way of thinking and a whole different company, and companies that are committed to social environmental responsibility are growing, like Eileen Fisher or Green Mountain Coffee or Patagonia. But from another perspective of our corporations that we, employ many, many people and produce many, many goods and services, everybody, no matter what your role, can figure out how to bring sustainability to your job. So, for instance, if you're in accounting, even if nobody's asking you, you should be learning how to figure out the cost of carbon accounting, and you should be putting another spreadsheet on your financial calculations so that when your boss comes to you and says, gee, we got to really figure out what the carbon footprint is or how to price out carbon, you'll already have that information. If you're in travel, you can do a lot of things around green hotels or helping your company get into video conferencing. So over and over, you need to think from the perspective of where you are in your job, what the future of your company is. You need to fully understand sustainability and start to connect the dots in ways that are relevant to your job, because in that way you will increase yourself as a sure bet for somebody your company is going to want to keep. And also, we know from the National Environmental Education Foundation that more and more companies want to hire employees that understand sustainability. So it's becoming important. I wouldn't tell people you can quit your job tomorrow and go out and get a job in the field of sustainability. Unfortunately, with the economic downturn, things are just not happening as quickly as they could have possibly happened, because I do think we have a lot of momentum in the social and environmental responsibility field.
Right.
But, Shari, you bring up a good point. And what you may do, you may not be able to quit your job right now and go work someplace else in the sustainability arena. However, you may create and invent for yourself a brand new position within the company where you are, and maybe even create yourself a nice position as the company's sustainability officer.
Exactly. You show yourself as innovative. You show yourself as a leader. You show yourself as somebody who can present, ideas in a way that's respectful, that listens to what other people have to say, maybe addresses some concerns and needs, and it's helping you elevate your stature within a company.
Shari, unfortunately, we're down to the last 2 minutes or so. Do you have some last thoughts on both the process of writing your book and the response you've gotten, and where you want to go from here?
Yeah, I would encourage people who are on the fence or who are taking, just dipping toes in the water to reach out to other people who are like-minded, like I did with Amy. Just start that conversation and don't put any boundaries on it, because I, in my wildest dreams, never thought I would write a book on the subject of sustainability. I mean, honestly, one of the things I wanted to do was make sure my kids knew that I cared. And when I realized how I could use my talents to make a difference, I just went ahead and did it. So I think this is at a critical time for our world. Sort of, if you listen to Paul Hawken and some of his words from a commencement speech he gave, you are brilliant, the earth is hiring, get out there, do what needs to be done, and only check after you've done it, the impossible, let me reread that right. Do what needs to be done and check to see if it was possible only after you are done. And that's the philosophy we all need to embrace.
Man, that is so well said, and we are so thankful for your time today. And please also thank Amy for the wonderful book that you've co-authored together. For our listeners, again, Shari Aaron's book is on Amazon.com, and it's called Climb the Green Ladder. It's also on ClimbTheGreenLadder.com. Shari Aaron, you are informational. You've been inspirational today. You're a wonderful author. We need more of you, and you are truly living proof that green is good.
This program will be available for downloading in a couple of days from our station's website, keyword podcast. Thanks for listening, and join us again next week at the same time for another edition of Green is Good.